there's a compelling government interest, you can violate a person's civil liberties. And so what you have to do, you have to list, what it is that you're doing, what's the...
Hang on, I want to get this on camera. How do you know this? What are you involved in?
Welcome, Patriots. Well, if I was giving out awards for the best conversation of the week, this guy would have won. Matter of fact, he'd be in the running for the best conversation of the year. As I was setting up yesterday, this guy started talking to me about a gap in our Constitution. And I tell you, if there's guys like this, I wish the hell would get involved in government. He's already, to an extent, he works for them. He's a civil servant. And the information he imports here, the wealth of knowledge this guy has about the Constitution, he could be a constitutional lawyer. He's that good. And he also drops a lot of information on the depth of the deep state within the military, which is rather stunning. And then, of course, he gets into how news is being assimilated now, and that it's important to have news channels like mine, and how we're really getting the news from each other now. It's, and how news is just completely dead. So this was very enjoyable for me. I hope it's enjoyable for you, and if it is, hit the like button. And if you'd like me to keep on doing this, I want to thank all of you that do contribute to me. God bless you so much. You allow me to continue to do this, and it would be helpful if I had some more help. So if you those of you that are regular listeners that have the ability, if you would like to subscribe, the subscribe star, sign up there, please. Or you could just purchase something at my shop. Or if you want to throw money at me, you can do it through the PayPal account using my email address. Either way, your contributions are well needed and appreciated. And remember, hit the like button, all that silly stuff. And share these, of course, share, because we have to counter the censorship on the internet that is there. So thank you for stopping by, and let's get to this, and I'll see you on the other side.
What kind of engineer?
Computational fluid dynamics.
Sounds like a specialty. That doesn't sound like a engineer to me.
Yeah.
So what is the Supreme Court thing now? What does it go over this again?
Okay, so the Supreme Court, basically they were trying to figure out how to deal with the New Deal. And they wanted to support it. And so what they did was they developed an argument called the strict scrutiny argument. And in that argument, what you do is you go to the Supreme Court and say, I'm going to violate somebody's civil liberties, and I'm going to offer a compelling government interest why I need to do that. Now, what's interesting about that is the Supreme Court's very clear about what it is that violates these civil liberties. For example, let's say you were talking about affirmative action. And so the Supreme Court makes no bounds about this. They are discriminating. They know they're doing that. But the compelling government interest is diversity. Now, so they walk in and say, we're going to ignore the Constitution, and we're going to replace it with something that we think is more important. Now, what's interesting is when they came up with that argument, they came up with that argument without specifying what a compelling government interest is. And so it's not in the Constitution. It doesn't have to be in the Constitution. They can replace any civil liberty you have with a compelling government interest. So it's interesting because, as typical, right, throughout history, the Democrats, they fought for segregation, they fought for slavery, and now they're fighting for affirmative action. They want a different form of discrimination.
Oh yeah.
And again, the Supreme Court's very clear about this. That's what it is: discrimination. Yeah. Now, what's interesting is they shun their ancestors who fought for segregation.
Right.
They shun their ancestors who fought for slavery. And right now they're fighting for affirmative action. And they walk into the courtroom and blah, blah, blah. And so you just have this image that it's going to be another couple generations and they're going to be shunning themselves again. for the
Well,
disgusting...
they're already attacking themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, they're already at each other's throats and doing...
So the other one about the strict scrutiny, the first time it was used based on race was to force relocate Japanese from the West Coast. And that was the first time they used that argument. They said, now that one, what was interesting about it is the compelling government interest was waging war, which was actually in the Constitution. So personally, when I look at that, I kind of see there is a reason there. But afterwards, they started using reasons that aren't even in the Constitution.
But it was a stepping stone. Then they use that as a... Man, they've been trying to chip away at the Constitution before the ink was dry on that. So, you hear about these things and you look back in history. And this was passed when? Was this passed in when?
The first time, well, it was in a side note, in a constitutional argument that was about, I forget exactly, but I want to say it had to do with the New Deal. And so one of the judges wrote it as a side note, as a way of discerning what was constitutional. So when they rule on this, they're arguing that it is constitutional to violate your civil liberties. And so it's called, again, strict scrutiny. There's two other ones which are lower. It's easier to get that through. The strict scrutiny one's actually the hardest one to get through. But what's interesting is the sheer volume of arguments that they hear that is based on an argument that allows them to get rid of a constitution. The other thing that's kind of interesting about that is when you think of a tyrant, right? Tyrant is sitting there saying, I'm going to tell you what you're going to do, period. Right? And so the path for a clear tyrant is simply to say it. Right? For the Supreme Court, all they have to do is wait for somebody to come up with an argument that they like. And they say, oh yeah, that's a compelling government interest, and it's a valid one. And so the process for being a tyrant is no more than just waiting for that right person to step into the courtroom. And then they can...
There's a whole argument now, too, that the courts have definitely gotten way beyond their bounds. When you have the circuit court that can stop a president from doing what he is constitutionally allowed to do.
Right.
One judge can go, no, I'm sorry, you're going to put a stay on that. That's not how it was supposed to be.
So I agree with you. I think really it was revenge for Clinton. We probably shouldn't have tried to impeach him for lying about his girlfriend.
I don't know if I think it's deeper than that. That's part of it. That's part of it. But I think it's way deeper than that. I mean, the deep state is deep. And
I know. I live in it.
Yeah, I know. You're right there in Virginia.
Right now, I've been charged with sexual harassment, the standard by which I didn't even meet. When you read the person's accusation against me, one, it's ridiculous. They said that I asked her out, which there's no way I asked this liberal out on a date. And so she's just far left liberal, and she's using this as a weapon to attack people. And it's amazing. The story I just told you, I've told to my CO, and he will not. He continues to step before all of the people in his command. 70,000 people work for this guy, and he listens to and he basically knows that he's lying, and he continues to repeat himself on this. And every EEO policy in the Navy says that we want to create a discrimination-free environment. And when the Constitution clearly says, the Supreme Court clearly says that we're discriminating in order to achieve diversity, they're lying.
So you're in the service now, or?
Sort of. I'm a civil servant.
Civil servant,
Yeah. But it doesn't really matter where I'm at. What matters is that these are the stories that are being told to people in the government. And if you are a Republican, they hate you. And they do everything they can to trip you up and get you out of there. I can't tell you how many people who I have friends in the government who they're living underground. They will not tell their supervisor what they think. They just keep their mouth shut because they're buried in this left-wing ideology.
Yeah.
I'm under a standing order to come to work every day unarmed with the expectation that one day I'm asked to go to a gunfight. Right? And they know that. They have anti-shooter training, or, you know...
That's one of the things I'm kind of puzzled about, why Trump hasn't
fixed that.
Yeah, rescinded, you know, you're allowed to carry arms. I mean, it's ridiculous. The armed services can't...
People.
Oh,
yeah.
No kidding. As I say, the deep state's deep.
Yeah.
I mean, I've talked to many people that are in the government, everything from FBI agents to IG investigators to, you know, multiple police, military. And ultimately, the majority of them, when I come down and ask them, well, how are we going to fix this? He says, well, eventually it's going to have to come to a revolution.
Yeah, you know, and it's really, it's like they want one.
Oh, indeed.
Right? It's like, the Democrats want eventually for you to say, I've had enough.
Yeah. And I don't know why, well, like everything else, you wonder why they'd even go there, because they're not going to win that one.
No.
They're not going to win it.
No. All the skilled people.
Yeah.
Because anybody who deals with the natural world has learned natural law.
Thank you.
And they understand how natural law works. That's why they're Republicans.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's why I say, yeah, if you want to fight, let's go.
Right.
Come on, let's get it on. Let's get this thing over with. Let's have that, Thomas Jefferson said it, I still believe it's true when he said it, So time to time, the tree of liberty has to be watered with the blood of tyrants and patriots, and he said about every 20 years.
Yeah. Well, the sad part is it's clearly about reasoning. You can't, to have a rational conversation with these people is impossible.
Yeah, I'm in the business, I know.
Yeah, and they just simply will not talk. I mean, I have literally written constitutional arguments to people who took an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States, and they will not engage in that rational conversation. And it's to the point where I'm accusing them of being an enemy of the Constitution in uniform.
And anytime they do, and you start making your argument, there's a glaze that comes over.
So this actually happened. But we had a constitutional. My supervisor brought a constitutional lawyer into the room when I had one of these conversations with him, and the constitutional lawyer, a black Democrat woman, said, "Yeah, everything he said is true."
Yeah.
And then it was like, "Okay, we're done.
Yeah.
We're not having this conversation anymore."
Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter what level of reason. It's an ideology that they're stuck with.
Yeah.
They can't do anything else.
It's good. I think that's why one of the things Trump is pushing hard on is the judges in. Let the wing push it.
So, and that's not going to get fixed until you look at what happened with the FISA court.
Yeah.
Right. If I was a FISA court judge and I found out that somebody lied to me and got a warrant to spy on an election, I mean, I'd be like furious. I want everybody who lied to me in this room now, right? And whatever the level of force that I could apply to those people for lying to me about it, I would have. And you saw none of that, which tells you one, either they knew or they didn't.
Well, yeah, I'm not a big fan of the FISA court itself. To me, it's a star chamber.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, it's a secret court.
Yeah.
Come on, where are we going with that? I mean, no. It's like it's like when you in sports. If you want to screw up a game, all you need to do is bribe one referee. You don't need to bribe the whole team. So it's like in the courts. If you got a FISA court, all you need is one bad judge in there, and it's done.
Right.
It's cooked.
And the Supreme Court, we got like 5.
Oh yeah, indeed.
Right.
Indeed. So that's why I say it's.
I think real reform I think you're right. Judicial reform is the first thing, and it basically actually, the first thing is we need to make news obsolete. So rather than having you have an app. And then you share information like what I just shared with you. You're never going to hear that.
This is why they're trying to put a cork on the internet.
Yeah.
Because everybody's Edward R. Murrow now. We're all walking around with a camera. We're all speaking to one another. We're all on the internet, with their social media network. So, indeed, we are the news. We are talking to one another. When I speak to kids out here, say, "Yeah, I'm going into journalism." I said, "Well, hell, might as well make buggy whips, pal, because you ain't going nowhere."
Right.
I mean, I've talked to people in the media. I talked to a guy that was the director of Fox News in California, San Francisco. And he admitted to me, he says, "Yeah, we're dying. There ain't no future in this." It's because everything, people are talking to one another, but that's why they're trying to get a handle on that. And beyond that, it's a two-sided sword with the internet. They got us hooked into it. Now they've got us addicted to it, and they keep on adding more and more onto it to the point where it gets. This information was allegedly given to Trump by this gentleman, Parsa, right? And it's about the coming 5G and 6G and the integration of how the internet, will Wi-Fi into your computers. Well, with this technology, they're going to be able to home in directly to our individual human brain waves. And so essentially connect us to the internet individually, each one of us. Well, if they do that, what else?
Well, just controlling your searches. Like, you go into Google and you search for something. I type in Sarah Palin, and I just say Sarah Palin space, and I wait for it to finish.
Yeah.
It's like bitch, slut, one thing after another, and you're like, okay, I got 9 hits and they're all derogatory.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that many people.
Yeah. You think it's Robert Epstein, whose wife was just killed, who's one of the he's the godfather of this the internet spy kind of like investigative network. And he brought up what you just said. I said, the Googles and all can just change an algorithm and change 15 million votes.
Yeah, because it does. It affects how you look at things.
Yeah.
It was, for a little while, Wikipedia was playing.
How you doing, sir?
All right, there, Captain.
You got the damn nice looking jump hats here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Got to get that boy back in there this time.
I don't think we got a problem.
You know what they need to do? Fire them Democrats because they ain't doing nothing.
I think that's going to happen.
They ain't doing their work.
Well, that's our job. That's
digging.
where we come in.
They're digging.
Catch up with my girlfriend.
It was a pleasure to talk to you, sir. Did you get a get out of jail free card?
I'm good.
No, this is good for any crime in the world.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, brothers.
Thank you, sir.
So, did you enjoy that guy? I swear. I'd vote for him in a second if he'd run for office. Yeah, it's wrong with this world, not enough people like that guy in it. All right, well, thank you very much for stopping by. You know the routine. If you like it, you like it. If you care, share. And if you can contribute. If you can't do anything else, pray for me because I'll be praying for you. God bless you, and I'll see you on the streets.